I just want to say thank you. Hi, how are you? It's been a while. Good to see you. Just appreciate everyone for being here. It just brings back so many memories. I really just feel so blessed to be able to share this moment with my family. And also, too, just like, it's like life happens so fast, I feel like 2 weeks ago I was a senior here, it just, time flies. So, I just want to reiterate how grateful I am. And yeah, ask me some tough questions.
This is not a tough question, but it's a fun one. I know you're very big on like affirmations and just
Mm-hmm.
like reassuring yourself, telling yourself things. Did you have an affirmation coming in today? And if not, like what would it be if you had to make one?
Yeah, I definitely think I thought it was a great question. I was gonna soak it in. It's hard sometimes to really enjoy a moment like this because you're being pulled so many different directions. Um, so I was gonna say soak it in. The other thing too is just trying to make sure that when I run into people that I haven't seen, whether that's teammates or staff, um, just really make it like about them. Because at the end of the day, like today's about me, but really I just get the beneficiary of having the name on it. But there's so many people that played a part in this, and that's why you see so many people here. So I think if anything, just showing my gratitude for everyone. That was definitely something I wanted to be intentional on today.
Hey, Kelsey.
What's up,
A
brother?
couple things.
Yeah.
The first is, you knew obviously that your jersey was going to be up there, but when they actually took the curtain down, you were able to see it. I felt like there was a visible reaction on your face. So I wanted to know about that when you actually saw it, and also if there was one thing that you heard from the video tributes that stood out to you.
I would say, you don't, you like, okay, this is really cool, right? This is amazing. And then when it actually happens, it's kind of like you're in shock a little bit. Definitely felt like almost emotional. Cause man, like, there's just so much that goes into a moment like this, right? And like, I was talking to Justin outside, Justin Glenn, and he was saying, you're the first to be able to do this on the women's side for basketball. Hopefully there's more after. And I agree. It's just, it's hard to do, And so it just was like, man, I was trying to take a second to just, hey, Kelsey, like, good job. So if anything, it was kind of more of that. Um, just kind of feels a little surreal. And then the other thing, too, just the video tributes, just appreciate all my teammates and just their love and recognition. Obviously, my coaches, Mike, too, just taking the time to do that. I think the thing that stands out the most about this weekend is really just how much people stop their life to come celebrate you. And that to me is like the ultimate gift, right? Just some people's time. So if anything, that's what I was trying to, again, reiterate. Like, I just really appreciate the love for coming here because I know there's a lot going on in a lot of different places in the world, right? But for people to take the time to come here to celebrate with me, I just feel honored.
We got one down here. Hi, Kelsey. Charles Hamaker with Circling Seattle Sports. You've obviously referred to Seattle as one of the places you call home.
Yeah.
What is it about the city and the fan base here that you really allowed you to create such a deep connection, with this city as, a busy student athlete?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle it loves their sports, in particular basketball. And, obviously, like, not having an NBA team here for so many years, and then obviously the Storm being so prevalent and so successful, I think that, the women's game has just elevated immensely in Seattle. Maybe as it wouldn't have if there was still an NBA team. I'm not saying anything like that, but that's why you see, I think, so when we started to win, it was like the Storm fans with the community kind of immersed themselves around us, and that's why you saw so much buy-in, and especially, too, when we went on the Final Four run, we were like a Cinderella, so when people, I feel like, get emotionally attached to that, and then they kind of stay, right? So I think that's how I felt being here and just being able to represent that. You take a lot of pride. You're walking around the city, obviously the university and the campus. And at this time, I remember when I was in school, football was in the national championship playoff. Men's basketball had Markel. And it was like soccer was winning, golf was winning national championships. So there was like this level of like competition in the athletic department, like, hey, we show up and we win because that's what we are. We're Huskies, we're dogs. And so I think that like we kind of took that and ran with that. So I don't know, I just kind of take a lot of pride in being a part of that era in UW.
Got one up top here.
Ariel Orsuto, King 5 Sports. I know that recruiting is obviously its own beast now with NIL, but
Yeah.
how does something like a banner like that that's solidified in the rafters maybe help a program like this that is now back on the up and up?
That's a great question. I think if anything, it just shows like if you're a women's basketball player wanting to play in college and you watch today, it's like this is what support is and what it looks like, right? Having a sellout crowd come back and acknowledge someone that played here. So it's possible to do, right? And I just think that a lot of times, sometimes you have to see it to know, like, hey, wait a second, like there's a big fan base here. You know, we just got to start winning games and put people in the seats and get them to stay. So if anything, that's kind of what I would take from that recruiting wise. And I mean, I'm biased. I think, you know, UW and Seattle is one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I'm always going to rep hard and, yeah, come to Seattle. I don't know what the NIL is looking like. I can't tell you, but we'll get it up there.
Kelsey, your fire, competitive spirit,
Yeah.
work ethic, you obviously had it when you got here, but it seemed to explode once you got here. Who are some of the people that maybe just motivated you and gave you that competitive spirit and all that fire on the mental side, and as well as on the basketball side, the competitiveness for the physical side of it to get better? Who were some of the people on both the mental and physical end?
I would say Mike Neighbors was one of the biggest catalysts of that. And I'm bummed that there was just so much going through my mind. I forgot to thank so many people. But, you know, Coach didn't give me the green light, he gave me the freeway when I got here, you know, and it was just like, we're going to have you just fail until you're better than everyone. And that's kind of what happened. And so it was just one of those things where, as a player, when your coach has that ultimate confidence in you, you go out there and there's no fear. You don't think you're going to get yanked for missed shots or a turnover or mistake. And so it's very easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but for a personality like mine, I think it's like the perfect concoction, right? To just be able to, you're basically waiting for someone that's super competitive to come in and just drive the ship. And he allowed me to do that. And then, you know, a lot of my teammates kind of followed suit. And I think, you know, having his leadership and allowing me to be myself was the best thing for me.
Hey, the KP.
Hey,
how you
Bruce,
doing?
how are you? Good to
I'm
see you.
good. Hey, if you had to pick a moment or two from your career that's the favorite, just what would those be? And like the takeaway from your story would be what for like these current players? Like what can they take away from kind of what you did that can maybe help them?
I remember upsetting Stanford. They were number 1 in the country. I was a freshman, and at the time we were, you know, middle of the pack. And I just remember, like, you know, as a player, you play these teams and like you have a dream of beating and upsetting people, but then when you do it, you're like, wait a second, this can keep happening, you know. So I think that was that first, like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be the underdog in these games and come out and punch people in the face. And so that kind of started, I think, so that was a big memory. That was a big moment. And then obviously too, upsetting that tournament run, just all those wins, whether it was that in Maryland, in Kentucky, obviously beating Stanford again to go to the Final Four. Those were just like, you know, we were technically the underdog in those games, but that group had upset so many teams in the 4 years before of just like building that confidence that it didn't matter who we played, we had a chance. And that was something that Mike was great at too. Like, it didn't matter who we played. Now, we could have lost to anyone we played too, but when we played big-time teams, the way we played and our style of play and how free it was like, hey, anything can happen. So those two memories, I think, stick in my mind. What I would say to young girls in particular, or are you just talking about athletes in general, or like what's the question? Like
I was thinking more this team here. But,
Yeah.
But perhaps for the young athletes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. There's a whole new climate in sports right now, and I don't think anyone really, if people would be lying if they said they knew all the answers. What I will say is the grass ain't greener. So wherever you go, there's things that we all need to work on and character that we need to develop. So whether that's here or somewhere else, like, you might as well just develop it here if you're here. So I would say that's first and foremost number 1. Number 2 would be, this is so short, this time in your life, take advantage of it. This is the most resources, the most opportunity, visibility. I mean, yes, if you want to play professionally in the WNBA, but in terms of setting up your life, the resources, connections, I would hate to look back on this time and be like, dang, I didn't utilize my 4 years with a free education as I could have, and I left food on the table. It's a terrible feeling, I think. So if anything, I would just encourage them, like, get everything you can out of this, because it's really, you get to do it one time. You get 4 years or 5 or whatever. I've heard of 7 and 8. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But I would just say, really utilize the resources that this university has, and they can make your dreams come true.
Kelsey, we got 2 more. One over here, one over here. Hey, Kelsey, congrats. Was there anyone you maybe saw this weekend you hadn't seen in a while or heard from since this was announced that really stood out?
Yeah, a couple of my college teammates that I haven't seen in a long time had babies. So I got to meet them and, meet the kids, so that was really exciting. And then also, too, I said this a little bit earlier, but there's so many people, like, support staff-wise that I've seen maybe once or twice, but I really haven't, gotten a chance to, talk to them, It's kind of always been in passing. So just really thanking, I saw Dr. Pelto here, and that was awesome. Obviously, just, getting to see, ushers and different people around in the concourse, police officers, things like that. So that to me makes this community special, because those people have been here for years, and they're going to be here for years because they love it. So just coming back and, showing love, that's been really fun.
One here, and then a very quick one in the back. Hey, Kelsey, how are you? As always, great to see you. Question I have for you is, we become who we are in part due to the lived experiences. So if you could look back to a small, young Kelsey, around 10, 12 years old, what would you say to yourself to motivate you to keep going?
Similar to what I said out there, set your dreams and your imagination big, because really, when we set that, it's already possible. God doesn't give us the desires in our heart for nothing. If He did that, then He also gave you the ability. And I think that I've learned that lesson, and I've just taken it and tried to run with it in my own life. And so I would just say to her, continue to dream big and don't let anyone tell you no.
Very quick in the back.
Robert Peoples, Vegas Sports Today. Mm-hmm. As you were approaching records here, did you think this was possible? Like, when you were coming, were you like, can I be one of those? Did you think that this whole thing was actually possible?
I never really thought about it in the sense of, the jersey being hung and the records and things like that. I just wanted to be the best I could be, and just trying to, push that limit. And then you realize, even in whether that's being a professional now, looking back, you just try to push yourself as far as you can possibly go, and then you look back and you're like, oh, dang, we did win a championship, or it was a good year, and I've never really been in it for that. I've been in it for just, the pursuit of trying to see how far I can take it. And so I look back now, and it's really cool to have a full circle moment, look back and just say, man, dang, that is a lot of points. I never really thought about it like that, It's just, it's cool, So I just appreciate that time of reflection. I'm really glad that it's been at this point in my life, because I'm just at a different point in my life than I've ever been. So just super grateful. And I just want to thank all of you here for being here and being a part of the journey and watching me grow up. So thank you.